In this video, I want to share with you a few winter driving tips, some of the do's, maybe don'ts, in driving your car in extremely cold climate. Number one, as soon as you can, go somewhere and have your battery tested. In cold climate, it's not uncommon for your battery to just give out overnight, or especially over 2 days if you don't drive it for a couple days. So go get your battery tested and check, make sure it's good. It'll make it through the winter. Any auto parts place or battery place should check your battery for free. Number two, go and get your tire pressure checked or check it yourself. Very easy to do. When the climate gets cold, your tire pressure tends to go down. And before you get in your car and drive off, you want to make a quick walk around the car and make sure that none of your tires are flat. Lately, with the temperature being sub-freezing, I've heard a lot of people complaining about coming out seeing a flat tire, and it's nothing in the tire. It's just that the tire lost its seal to the rim. You do not want to drive on a flat. It'll destroy the tire. So get the tire removed, put a spare on, go somewhere and have somebody repair your tire for you. The other thing you want to do is check your windshield wipers. Make sure they're not stuck to your windshield. Just lift them up or move them or something, because you don't want to get in your car, start it up, hit your windshield wipers or have them already be on and damage your wiping mechanisms or your blades because they're already frozen to the windshield. Another thing, I do not recommend starting your car and letting it warm up 10-15 minutes. A warm motor is a healthier motor for your car, and when you start your car and let it sit idle and let it warm up while it's sitting there 10-15 minutes, your car's motor stays cold longer, and the hardest time of your car is when it's cold. You'll get more engine wear when that oil and stuff is cold, and you'll use more gas. So most owner's manual recommend that you start your car, give it 10 or 15 seconds for the fluid to start moving, and then go ahead and drive your car modestly. Trying to refrain from saying drive it like an old lady, but you want to drive your car like you have your wallet or purse on the roof until your temperature gauge gets warmed up. And that way your car will warm up in probably 2 minutes to 2 miles, and it'll be at normal operating temperature. And after it warms up, you see that needle get in the normal range, you can go ahead and drive it like you stole it. Now, when it comes to heating your car, if you have an automatic climate control system, you'll see auto on your dial or on one of your temperature controls. And until your needle starts to move in the warm range above the cold, you can set that system to whatever temperature you want. And once your engine starts to warm up, it'll automatically blow and try to get your car to the desired temperature or the temperature you have programmed in. If your car has a manual climate control like this one does, you might as well leave your needle to off until you see your temperature gauge starting to climb. So, again, don't start your car, let it idle, leave it unattended where somebody can steal it, or it's running cold, which is causes more wear on your motor. Go ahead, start your car, wait 15-30 seconds, and then drive it like you have something that you need sitting on the roof. It'd be a real good idea to have something in the car that can scrape ice and push snow off. Something with a good handle, only costs $1 or $2. Another thing you want to do is check your fluid levels. So you want to check your oil, you want to check your coolant reservoir, make sure that that's not below the minimum mark. Check it when it's cold, then check it when it's hot. You also want to somehow verify that you actually have coolant in the system and not just water or distilled water. I read a post on a website the other day where a lady purchased a car. She was told that the car had the fluids checked and the antifreeze and everything was good, and it turned out that it only had water. And when she started the car in the morning, everything in the system was frozen, and it broke the water pump, and 5 minutes into her drive, it overheated and destroyed her motor. So make sure you have coolant in the system and it's not just water. Now you have a couple of options here. One, you can go to an auto parts store and get some coolant tester and it'll tell you how good your coolant is. Or number two, you can just have the system serviced and replace the coolant, since you probably don't have any written proof of when the coolant was last changed. You want to check these things weekly. Then you want to check your brake fluid. Make sure it's not below the minimum mark. You can't afford to be out there and have your car overheat or run out of oil or something like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and start my car. As you can see, it's 26 degrees. It's a cold car and it's low on gas. You don't want to run your car low on gas, especially if you're going to be driving further than walking distance from your home or where you're going. Because if you get caught in some kind of bad weather and you get stuck out there in a traffic jam because of an accident or something, you don't want to run out of gas and have you lose your heat inside your vehicle. So it's preferred that you keep at least a half a tank of gas in your car. So I'm going to go ahead, start driving and film it so you can see how quick it warms up. Then you'll also hear the climate control kick on. And on my car, I have the electronic climate control because I have an auto and I have an auto there. So I'm going to leave it like that. There I go. I start the car and I'm going to let the car idle for probably about 30 seconds or so. And this is actually the temperature of the motor right there. So you could actually watch that climb and see how fast it climbs as I drive. I'm going to go ahead and let the leave the recording on. And I'm already moving here. And I did turn on my heated seats, which is a good feature in these cars. So let's go ahead, and as you notice, I'm not trying to rev the motor up much. I'm just moseying along here. I'm not even out of the parking lot, and my engine temperature is almost double. As you can see on my little scan gauge there, I have a meter called gallons per hour. So if I get caught in some kind of traffic jam, stuck on the freeway or something, I can see how many gallons per hour my car will be using while I'm stuck in traffic. So you can also see my mileage going up. I haven't quite driven a half mile yet. And I've been moving, the car's been running about 2 minutes, and the temperature's double. It's up to 85 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off for a couple seconds because these files are big to upload. But as you can see, I'm at 232.0 on my trip meter, and I'll cut it on here in a second. Okay, I've driven another 1/10 of a mile. My temperature's up around 120, and my climate control is coming on. I can hear my fan starting to blow because it senses I'm getting heat inside the car. Now my car is up to 125. And my heater is blowing a little bit stronger, trying to get the car warmed up because I have a temperature dialed up to about 78 degrees. So I've actually been in the car for about 2 minutes, and moving actually 2 minutes. My car is actually 3 minutes now My car is warmed up to 137. My temperature gauge is starting to rise. My blower fan is blowing. And I'm not sure what the mileage is when I started, but I've driven probably about a mile and a half. I'm at 232.6 now. So as soon as it gets up to temperature, I'll cut this recording back on. Okay, when I started my recording, the temperature or the mileage was on my trip was 231.7. I've driven about a mile and a half now, and my temperature is 168. The temperature should be at the level of normal operating temperature when it's at 182. And then you can see my time is actually 5:42, which is, I'm about 5 minutes into my drive. So within 5 minutes into my drive, I got good cabin temperature. My motor is almost totally warmed up to where I could drive without any restrictions. My temperature gauge is straight across, and it's still 29 degrees out. So now my temperature gauge on my digital readout is 181. I feel like I can drive as aggressive as I like. I'm at the 2 mile mark, and my car is totally warmed up, and the inside is actually feeling toasty. So it was about 6 minutes of driving, and the car is warmed up, ready to go. If for some reason you start driving and you drive for 5 minutes, or let's say 10 minutes or 5 miles, and your temperature gauge is not reading a proper temperature setting, I would say that you have a problem with your thermostat, and you need to get that fixed as soon as possible. A thermostat that's not closing properly all the way will cause you a lot of money in gas, and it could cause your car to run rich, which can damage your motor, maybe cause a burnt valve. But thermostats wear out. They have a spring in them. That spring gets old. It doesn't expand and contract the way it should, and you'll know it because your temperature gauge won't warm up as fast as it should. Like I said, it should warm up in 3-5 miles at the most, and it should stay warm. So if you're going down the freeway, that temperature gauge shouldn't drop down. And if you need to, you can get you a tool like this scan gauge and make sure that your temperature stays above 180 on that indicator, that electronic indicator there. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here, and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.